Today, I'm going to share with you about breakfast. Why is it the most important meal of the day, and what's the ideal breakfast for your Ayurvedic body type? Hi, this is Zia and welcome to Holistic Nomads TV, where ancient wisdom and modern science can help you to have more clarity and energy in your life. In today's class, I'm going to continue about Dinacharya, or also known as Ayurvedic daily regime. So if you haven't watched the previous episode, on the caption below there's a link to watch the entire videos. And in today's class, I'm going to focus about breakfast. The class is going to be divided into 5 chapters. First, we are going to talk about why breakfast is the most important meal of the day according to Ayurveda. Secondly, we are going to talk about when is the ideal time to eat breakfast. In the third part, I'm going to share with you about the ideal breakfast for each dosha. In the fourth part, I'm going to share with you the step by step on how to make our porridge breakfast. And lastly, I'm going to share with you extra tips for those of you who might have a tendency of not feeling hungry during breakfast time. First, having breakfast first thing in the morning helps to fuel the digestive fire, or also known as in Ayurveda as Agni. According to Ayurveda, digestion is one of the most influential factors to our well-being, which is why we often mention many times throughout our video about the importance of having a strong digestive system, or Agni. In the caption below, there's a link to watch our previous class on Agni and how to make sure that your Agni become the perfect digestion that it should be. A strong digestion is like a bonfire that can burn and transform things effectively no matter what we put on it. But if the fire is weak, no matter how good the wood, or in this case, the nutrition, quote unquote, that we put in there, it wouldn't be converted to be a good source of energy properly. Which is why by having meal first thing in the morning is like stoking up that fire first thing in the morning, so that we can make sure, we can rest assured that our digestive fire, or our Agni, can function properly throughout the day and do its job, which is to transform the life for you. The second reason is that breakfast can help to ground and stabilizes the mind. Of course, this can only give that effects depends on the food that you eat. Especially for those of you who have dominant Vata, where the nerve system can get agitated very easily, you want to make sure that your nerve system and your mind can feel grounded and soothed and feel that it's at ease. And having breakfast, a good, wholesome, grounding breakfast, can help to stabilize the mind first thing in the morning, so that you can start your day, you can continue your day in a more sattvic, harmonious mind state. Next, when is the ideal time to have breakfast of the day? So according to Ayurveda, there is the ideal time for every activity throughout the day based on the relationship of our body to the suns. So each time of the day related with each dosha. So for example, from 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. related to Kapha dosha. So it's that earth and water quality that makes it heavy. And which is why we start this day with first meditation, and then exercise, and then we do abhyanga and shower. And if you want to learn all of that even more detail, watch the previous episode. There's a link on the caption below. So after we do exercise, our digestion is already turned on. So we want to make sure that we put wood, we put nutrition on that fire so that it's not going to go crazy, which also means that the fire can be sustained and it can do its job to transform our life experiences, our emotion, our thought throughout the day. Which is why the latest time to have breakfast, ideally according to this sun cycle, is between 9 until 10 a.m. because that's the time when Kapha dosha of the day is already coming to an end. And if you eat later than that, you're coming to the Pitta time of the day, where the ideal activities for that time is already changed. So it's not about going inside you and about stoking up your digestive system anymore. Next, what is the ideal breakfast to eat for each dosha? So each dosha, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, have a different tendency in regards to their digestion. So for Vata, because their element is more cold, the ideal food to eat has the qualities of something that is warming and something that is easy to digest. Because Vata tendency of digestion is that it can go random And usually in the morning, especially if they don't have breakfast habit, is that they might not have tendency to feel hungry. So you want to make sure that for breakfast for Vata, it's something that is easy to digest and something that is warming and grounding. For Pitta, when it comes to digestion, they have no problem, usually especially, to feel hungry because they're already dominant in that fire element, which is why what we need to put attention more of is not to be something that makes them hungry even more, but something that can last until they feel hungry again for lunch. And because Pitta is the most hot, the hottest dosha compared to the others because of that dominant in element of fire, they can be the one who are fine to eat smoothie, which is the cold smoothie, because the digestion is already have a tendency to be more hot compared to the others that have a tendency to be more cold. Now lastly, for Kapha dominant people, the ideal breakfast for them is something that is first light, because between 6 until 10 a.m., like I mentioned earlier, is already dominant Kapha. So they're already dominant in their dosha, which is why usually Kapha people is not the one that needs breakfast the most, although they still need to have breakfast so that their digestions can be stronger and prepare them to face the day. So the ideal element of breakfast for Kapha is that something that is warming. Basically anything warming can help to enkindle the digestion. So in this case, they can start the day with lemon, ginger, honey, for example. And if they want to eat food that is something that is light and not something that is full and heavy to digest, because that might makes them even more heavy and they might not want to start their day. Next one, I'm going to show you how to make our oat porridge, because many of you on our social media, especially on Instagram, ask how we cook our porridge. So here it is. We are going to show you the step by step from the beginning until the very end how to make our oat porridge. So first thing first, as you already see the ingredients before, now I'm going to show you how to cook it, which is very simple. First, you place the 1 cup of rolled oats or steel cut oats, any old-fashioned oats basically. Ideally, we don't use the quick oats. So after that, then we will put 3 cups of water. Next, put 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, cold pressed coconut oil, or if you don't have coconut oil, then you can use any form of cold pressed nut oil, or you can also use ghee. Then we will turn on the stove, the fire. We can stir it a little bit first. So the next part is actually we are going to put the spices. So we are going to divide it into spices first, and then the dried fruits, and lastly is the nuts and seeds. We're going to put the freshly ground cardamom pods. We use the green cardamoms because it has more essential oils, good smell. Next is a freshly ground fennel seeds, cinnamon powder, fresh ginger instead of powdered ginger. So powdered ginger has more dry qualities, while the fresh ginger has more moist and lubricating qualities. And lastly, a pinch of salt, or 2. It depends on your preference. Now we're going to stir it again. So now we are going to just like let it cook and boil a little bit before we put the next part, that is the dried fruits. As you can see, the porridge is bubbling and then it's kind of cooked more than earlier. So now this is the ideal time for us to put the dried fruits. So we can put the fire a bit low. So in today's porridge, I'm going to put 2 different kind of dried fruits. Usually I only put 2 different kind of dried fruits. And in this one, I'm going to put first goji berry. And then raisins. You can put so many type of dried fruits. From our favorite is dates, figs, prunes. If you want it to be sweet, then dates are considered the sweetest. And then we don't usually use fresh fruit because fresh fruit has a tendency to get breakdown sooner than the oat itself, because of the water and the sugar content. So then we choose instead dried fruit so that it's not going to be fermented while the oat is still being digested. The last part of our porridge is the nuts and seeds. So I usually just use one type of nuts and one type of seeds. In today's class, I'm using almond for the nuts and pumpkin seed for the seeds, obviously. I usually put the nuts and seeds at the end so that I can still have that crunchiness feeling. So we don't like mix it all together. So that's why when I try to like do the soak the oats overnight to make it easier to digest, I don't mix the nuts and the seeds on the soaked oats so that later when I put it on at the end of the cooking, I still have that like crunchiness quality. So let it cook, last part of the cooking, and that's it. That's the oat porridge. Now, to make the porridge even better with nutrition and also taste-wise, I have extra add-ons. First, one of my favorite is bee pollen. And then recently I've also been loving to add rose petals, dried rose petals. So I'm just like breaking it down like this. And then chia seed. And then I add extra cold pressed nut oil, especially because I'm Vata. So if you're Vata, ideally you want to have more good fats. And lastly, as a sweetener, I use in this one organic coconut sugar. Now, here's an additional note about making the porridge as your breakfast. First, if you would like to individualize this porridge recipe according to your dosha, so you might want to adjust the grain that is ideal for your body type. So if you're Vata, the ideal grain is oats or rice because both has that lubricating qualities, which is good for Vata that has a tendency to be dry. Next one, the ideal grain for Pitta is rice. And lastly, for Kapha, the ideal grain is millet because millet is drying and Kapha has a tendency to be already moist and heavy and lubricating on its own. Another note that you want to pay attention when you want to cook this porridge recipe is that you can also soak the oats together with the spices overnight to make it even more easy to digest. Our favorite dried fruits are prunes, raisin, figs, goji berry, dates, cranberry, and tamarind. We usually only use 2 dried fruit maximum in 1 pot of porridge. We rarely mix fresh fruit except the one that is easy to digest fruit like papaya and mangoes, as fresh fruits can ferment in the digestive process when combined with heavier food like grains. Big no is banana to mix with any form of fruit because banana is already a heavy fruit and is harder to digest by itself compared to the other fruits. Our favorite nuts and seeds are almond, walnut, sunflower seed, pumpkin seed, black sesame seeds, and cashew. As an extra addition for omega, we love flax and chia seed can also be used when you accidentally made your porridge too runny. It can help to thicken it up. Some good fat options are ghee, olive oil, coconut oil, and rice bran oil, or any form of cold-pressed nuts oil like pumpkin oil. When it is available, we usually serve the porridge with rice on almond milk, as soy and dairy isn't easy to digest for many people, especially for both Kimana and I. Next one, you can also add natural sweetener on your porridge if you want. Next one, by having a more neutral, sattvic or harmony taste for your breakfast, you will start your day with a more grounded and stable mind. Lastly, the reason why we choose porridge as our ideal breakfast every single day is that porridge has enough qualities that make it easy to digest, and that it fuels the Agni or the digestive fire, and it also has qualities and nutrition in it that can help us to ground our mind and stabilize the mind. Now, if you're one of those person who's not feeling hungry in the morning and asking, but Zia, I never feel hungry in the morning. Do I still need to eat breakfast every morning? The answer is yes, exactly for the reason that I mentioned earlier, is how important breakfast is, because it will help to enkindle the digestions or the Agni. And if you don't feel hungry in the morning, there's a higher chance that there's a deeper cause, there's a deeper reason why you don't feel hungry in the first place. Considering that Agni is one of the most important key to your health, it is very, very important to make sure that your Agni, your digestive fire, is on its peak potential, so that you can make sure that you can transform your day, your experiences, your thought, your emotion, everything is related to Agni. Now, to answer that questions, luckily, we already have a class dedicated to Agni on how to make sure that you have a perfect digestions. On the caption below, there's a link to watch that class, which I share with Kimana. In that class, you can also download the cheat sheet on how to get stronger Agni and also to understand what kind of Agni that you have. But if, let's say, after you watch the class and you apply the information there that you still have a weak digestions, then as always, I will recommend to consult further with Ayurvedic practitioners. As always, all of our classes that we share here is educational in purpose. So if you want to take the information here to your daily life, make sure that you always take responsibility, because you are the one who knows about yourself, your individuality, and especially if you have a specific health challenge, then I will always recommend to consult further with your doctor or apply this information with the guidance of your health practitioner. Now, theory without practice is wasteful, because hearing leads to forgetting, teaching leads to remembering, and applying leads to mastering. That's why we encourage you to leave a comment below and share one learning insight from this video. Also, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe so you will be the first to hear about our future educational videos. And for more resources on health and healing, check out our website holisticnomads.com. There you will find articles, quizzes on Ayurveda, loads of free downloads, and of course, our future events and courses. Thank you so much for watching. We hope it's been beneficial for you. Hope to see you next week. Bye! In this case, for our bonfire, so that it stoke up the... Bagus.